Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Steel Shots Podcast, and this is your host, Ace. On this episode, I'm continuing my interview with the band Coat of Arms. So this is the second section of the interview with the Coat of Arms. If you haven't listened to the first part, please check the previous episode with Coat of Arms. And without further ado, here's the episode, and hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. Okay. Let me talk to you about your music in general. Going through demos, the singles, and EPs. So you guys, you produced two albums, and so far, after the two album, then you got a hiatus for 5 years, and then you came back. So
it's actually 4 albums, but there are 2 that we we keep hiding.
We don't talk about those 2.
No. We're gonna talk about them. Since
It's early Metalcore. Yeah, it's an EP and 4 albums.
EP, 4 albums, and all I knew about you are 2 albums and 9 singles after the hiatus.
That's
because you checked Spotify, and because when you check Spotify, that's what we've uploaded on Spotify. But there's music before streaming existed that you won't be able to find.
Hey, listen, I'm too young for this. You know the old files on the computer that is said Linkin Bark in the bark, not park, bark.
Yeah.
I was on the final days of these files. Then we went streaming. So okay.
There you go.
So the albums that I know about are the Sun and Satellites and Shade of Red. And the 2 albums were before, so no one streamed that or no one talked about that ever since. Why they are hidden?
They're not hidden. We just don't have them available online. We sold those as physical copies, and
they're actually available on Bandcamp.
With kind of to the local. Thanks, Amir. And yeah, but they're still out there. They're still out there. It's not that we're not proud of them. They were what they were at the time.
So Ace, just like you, I my familiarity with Coat of Arms is Sun and Satellites and A Shade of Red. I have heard the other 2 albums before, like bits and pieces of them, not even fully. And I think to answer your question, you're like, they're not hidden as such. It's more so that between those 2 albums and the 2 newer albums, there was a shift in sound. Where I think the first 2 albums were very metalcore, and then they switched to what's kind of more djenty combined with metalcore influence, and I think a lot more emphasis on melody, even with clean vocals. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's not necessarily that they're hidden, they're just not representative of the music that we make today. So there's kind of not no point to putting it out there, but it's the early sound of the band. Put it that way.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would know that also. And also, by the way, I listened to your the entire discography by Coat of Arms. The entire that is
Thank you.
available.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The available one, the available ones. The two hidden ones, I didn't know about them.
That's why I said thank you.
But by the way, there is a quite interesting shift from Sun and Satellites and also Shade of Red. The first one was like, as you mentioned, it's a pure metalcore. And Shade of Red, I noticed some tracks that there are prog elements or like or like early gent sound, I would say. That's what I noticed earlier. So, do you have guys any comments from the shifting of the sounds, or was it like something on purpose you would say on Shade of Red?
Bailouni was taking steroids.
Okay.
I wish. No, I think really, like, to put it very basically, like, obviously, like Shannon said, we had a certain sound that was more metalcore. Sun and Satellites was our first sort of entrance into like more genty parts, but it was still maybe like, I don't know, there's majority metalcore there, but a little bit of gent. And then I think with the Shade of Red, that's really when we started listening to more gent and then listening to more progressive music. And then, you know, you find your influences, like Liam was saying, you know, they start to come through. And then with the Shade of Red, it was also the first album that, Sun and Satellites, we did it with Diego from Volumes, rest in peace.
Oh.
And then when we did a Shade of Red, we were doing it ourselves. So we felt like we had, like, it's very easy to change something, like a new riff or a new section when you have, you know, you're doing it yourself. So yeah, I guess it just became more gent. But then it's funny because now the 5 years hiatus, coming back to these new songs, I sometimes when I listen to them, they have elements of Satellites and a Shade of Red in different mixes. So like some are more this, more that. So I guess all in all, that's essentially like the circle of our sound, those two albums.
I think also, just to add to that point, I think from Sun and Satellites onwards, that's when we started to focus, which is part of the core of our sound, I think, as Coat of Arms, is on our style of production on the songs, the types of layering that we like to include, the type of synths or flares or things going on in the background. There's a lot of stuff that you might hear, you might not hear, but it's all flavor that we add to the tracks. And I think that's when it started taking a ramp, was when we really started to focus on production and started to think about how we want to represent the music and how we're going to put it forward.
Yeah, to add on your
sorry,
point, Liam.
Sorry, just before Amir continues, I just want to say, like, one of the things that Liam said is very important, that we've always been in the region, and I think almost all bands that know us, you know, from the community will always say that Coat of Arms has always been, at whatever time, bringing modern elements to the region through our music. We've always been one of the most modern bands, maybe not globally because we are getting inspired by other bands, but a lot of the time, a lot of the things that we're doing is very like we're the first doing it, or we're bringing elements of what other people are doing for the first time ourselves. And sometimes we're too ahead, and sometimes we're like, you know, trying things that maybe don't work. But like what Liam is saying, like, we're from the production thing, we've always tried to bring a lot of modern into our sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Amir, yeah.
I think the shift also that I think Sun and Satellites was just our try and us going like, okay, we like this sound, or this is the sound we want to go for, and it was like an honest try. Okay, let's see if it works out. And then after we noticed that it actually worked out, and like people liked it. Sun and Satellites had a very good reception, you know. With a Shade of Red, it was like we want to make a statement, and we want to prove that even bands from this region, like though we're nobodies, but we can compete with an international music scene in our genre. And that's why, like, I think Bailouni maybe remembers, and Liam as well, especially early on, there were over 40 demos for A Shade of Red.
Oh, okay. So
I think more actually. Now I'm thinking about
Probably.
it. I think it was more, way more than 40. I think we were in the 60s. If I'm
Yeah,
not
because
mistaken. I think it was
some of those
60s.
songs were things that we had written after Sun and Satellites while we were promoting
Yeah,
Sun and Satellites. We were still writing, so some of those made it onto A Shade of Red. Some of them obviously didn't make it at all. But yeah, from 60 we chose 10.
okay. So you went through a
So
lot of those.
sorry, Ace, did cut you off. But
No.
like even the singles that you heard last year, those were a selection of maybe 30 something different. Yeah. So we always write in batch and then condense it down to what we feel like is the best of the best that we can deliver at that time.
So you guys going through multiple demos and trying things out for a couple of times before you establish on a specific track to release.
I mean, yeah, it's why we haven't released anything in the last 6 months. You know,
Yeah.
because we're doing that right now.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Also, like you mentioned, the 5-6 years hiatus, like it wasn't intentional. We actually tried to make a comeback twice.
That's what I wanted to ask you also, Amir, about the hiatus. I wanted to go with you first. What,
Yeah,
what happened with Coat of Arms after the release of these two albums? And then sudden.
So after okay, shall we do the whole story of moving countries?
Listen, I have the full time. I'm still awake and I have nothing left. I have
Okay.
nothing to do. Just
Long,
go.
long
ahead.
story short, so me and Liam were in UAE. When Bailouni finished studying in England, he went to Qatar. I moved to Qatar after the release of Sun and Satellites. We worked on A Shade of Red. After it got released, Bailouni moved to Dubai. So it was Liam and Bailouni in Dubai, and me and Shannon. At that time, Shannon joined, and me and Shannon in Qatar. But back then, me and Shannon, I think we were not yet close. We didn't really hang out that much yet, or to actually sit down and write music or whatever. Then obviously, like Bailouni started a new career. How to say? Having, I don't know, it was difficult. Like it was difficult to write music, like to have people come over all at the same time and have time to actually work together and also spend time with each other as friends. Because after all, like the most important thing I think that keeps this band together is before being band members, we were all like really close friends. I think because even if this band was done and dusted or over, I think all of us would still like enjoy each other's friendship, and we're almost like brothers, you know. And then at one point,
we always say, sorry, I'm just going to cut you. We always say friends first, bandmates second. Always.
yeah. And then, so after the first attempt to make a comeback, then Liam moved to Doha. So we're like, okay, we're 3 in Doha, then it's easier for Bailouni to come over. And then that's one of the times where the 2 times we actually wrote music in the same room was me, Liam, and Shannon were in Doha, and then Bailouni visited.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as Liam settled down in Doha, I had to move back to Abu Dhabi. Bro, that plus add, like you said earlier, we are not all full-time musicians, you know? So we all have very busy personal lives. So to actually find the time, and even if you find the time, you have to be in the right mood. Everybody else also has to be on board, you know? So just to get same time slot for all of us to work together was very difficult during those 5-6 years, because we attempted twice very seriously to come back with albums, and it didn't work out.
Okay.
Let me also add to that. In those 5 years as well, regionally it was difficult to travel between certain countries as well. That made things harder, and on top of that, just people's family situations, or like people getting married, or people having kids, and people focusing on their careers, starting businesses. I think it's best summed up as life got in the way, pretty much.
Yeah. I saw that also a video for you on YouTube that when you said why you stopped for these 5 years and life got in the way, moving into different countries. I believe it was difficult for all of you. Just have you ever felt that is this the end of Court of Arms, or like you can't go on like this anymore? Was it, I know, because I know there's something, there's a reason I'm gonna say, but I can't say it on podcast. People won't know about this. But I'll tell you post the episode.
I have a good story. When Liam first moved to Doha, in the middle of this hiatus, randomly, we've never done this before, but we were out on a boat. We were on a catamaran in the middle of the ocean, and I asked him. I was like, "So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with the new music?" Or because we still had demos, we were always writing. It was just a matter of releasing and having a cohesive rollout. And Liam's like, I don't know. He said very seriously, like, I'm not sure actually. And I remember that moment, like being on the boat. I was like, what the fuck? You don't know? Like, who knows if you don't know? You're the second person in the band. And so there was a time like we weren't really sure. The other thing I need to add here is during this time, despite the fact that everyone was so busy and life got in the way, Amir saved the band. It was Amir. Amir is the right person that you asked the question to. He saved the band. He was the one who was always pushing, always sending demos, writing.
Shitty demos.
Yeah, but whether they were
Doesn't
shitty
matter.
or not shitty, he was the heart of the band at that moment in time. He was the pulse. He kept the heart beating. And slowly but surely, in his own Amir way, with the poking and prodding, he got each of us to come back, get interested, and then get the ball rolling again. So a lot of that credit goes to Amir.
I actually like to give credit to COVID as well, because the first time that Bailouni was in close contact and he had to isolate, that was the result of Inferno being written.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, Inferno and Shapes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
Shapes was written pretty
Written-
early on.
Shapes was the first song we ever wrote
in pandemic.
after the hiatus. Yeah.
Bro, what's the hardest thing? I think deep inside of all of us, we always knew we're going to continue, or at some point we're going to release something, even if we decided, I think, at some point that we're going to call it quits, we were probably going to release one last project to leave a footprint, right? Or like a goodbye thing, right? But during our hiatus, that there was a lot of rumors, a lot of bad talks, like from certain people in the scene that we've disbanded, that we're done and dusted. And I think it kind of, that for me, what pissed me off, and it lit the fire under me. And I'm like, I'm not stopping. I'm going to write the demo every week. I don't care. And when Bailouni left, I used to not know anything about recording music. Like, so the technicality of it, like I just sit and try to play and hope my take is okay. But I didn't know how to use the computer to do that. And he's always tried to teach me. And I'm like, I have you, I have Liam, you're both like amazing audio engineers, like why do I need to learn it? Like, it's a waste of time. So when he left Doha and before Liam moved in, I found myself, I'm like, everything I write, I have to send him like a video, and we're in different tuning or whatever. Like, I cannot do it. So I'm like, okay, I started learning how to record, and then I'm like, okay, now I can keep writing and having, again, like hearing rumors about us and whatever, it really pissed us off, like all of us, like we were not happy about it, because like we, like, I wouldn't say it in an egoistic or in a bragging way, but we've done a lot for the scene, like prior, especially early 2011, 2012. And we've always pushed, like we never had issues with other bands, but unfortunately, just like in every field, sometimes you have a couple of people. It's like at work, you have a couple of toxic people, and I think every scene has a couple of toxic bands, you know, and also in some cases, toxic organizers and event organizers and promoters, where like they start saying stuff that shouldn't have been said. And to me, I was like, I want to prove them wrong. I want to show them that like not only will make a comeback, but like we'll make it bigger than ever and bigger than anybody else here in the scene. And luckily, I mean, we don't share much about our Spotify streams, like we do it sometimes on a live here and there or whatever. Like we don't really post it, but the numbers we're very happy with for the last year for our singles. And I think for the next year, our goal is to beat that again. Like we will achieve something better. I don't think that at this point there's anything is gonna get in our way, except for us. Like the only thing that can stop us is us, and I don't see that being a problem at the moment.
You've done a lot, and I saw that through your music, through your career. I've listened to your podcast. I saw a lot of things from you guys, and yeah, I believe that's true. And I saw that a lot of you. Back to Bailouni, there is a question that I wanted to ask you a couple of minutes ago when you talked about the music production and you learned from Diego of Volumes. So, how was it when you learned the music production, or what you could tell me about the music production back then when you learned there?
Yeah, I mean, when we started doing Sun and Satellites, we knew that we were going to send it to Diego. We were huge fans of the very, very first EP that Volumes did, and we're like, you know, if I could ever have an album to sound this way, I would be so happy. Found out that Diego did it, reached out, and he I'm not sure if you remember the song or not, but we have a song called Black Holes, and
I knew it on YouTube. I saw it also on YouTube.
Yes,
you played live in 2013. I
yes,
recall that.
Yes. Wow, great memory. And so we had an early demo of that song, and it was like obviously not great quality, but rest in peace. Diego had the foresight. You know, he could see what it could become, and he said to me, "I never knew that people in Dubai even made music like this. I didn't even know that you guys were, you know, even doing this sound." And he was really happy to help us produce, mix, and master the album. So when it came to like giving feedback and sending riffs and re-recording stuff to give him the best possible quality of recordings so that he can do all the stuff and make it sound good, you know, along that way I would ask him like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Sometimes we would have like, I remember calling him on the phone sometimes 3-4 hours at a time, so many times over and over again. Sometimes I'd call him on the way to work, I'd call him on the way back, and by the end of Sun and Satellites, like he was genuinely someone that like I would say was like a friend, you know what I mean? And obviously when you have a friend, you share knowledge. If you hear about something, you know, new audio equipment and new software, you're going to tell your friends about it, you know? So that's pretty much the relationship that we had. And I remember towards the end, the beginning of No Sleep, the album by Volumes, we had got so close, he started asking me to help write vocals or guitar riffs for their album. And then that's just how, you know, you start, you know, coming up with different ideas and even about like how they're mixing it and whatnot. So that's essentially how I got into it, learning from him along the way. But a really funny story just to wrap up the Diego thing. The first song, it's crazy. The first song he ever heard by us was our Black Holes demo. And he was like, I love this. And Black Holes ended up being one of the best songs that fans received. So he obviously, it wasn't the only song he heard, but that was the one he liked the most. And when we were writing the new songs, like the singles that we just dropped last year, he told me that his favorite was Old Habits. And Old Habits ended up being probably our best song of the last year. And So I don't know what it was about his like ability to understand even from our songs which one was different. Because I don't think if you had asked us, we would have said for sure Old Habits is just gonna be the best song that people like. We would have never said that. It was maybe our favorite, but you know. And the last time I spoke to him before he passed away was maybe about a month before he passed away. We were doing a educational boot camp, and I had him on a Zoom call, and he was talking about production and mixing and stuff, and it was bringing back all these memories I'm telling you now. So yeah, that's essentially how that process went. It was just very friendly, just like, you know what I mean? It wasn't something that we did officially.
I see. Okay. That's quite interesting that you get a lot of inspiration from him, and you get a lot of things to work with him, and you learned a lot in music production in that field.
Yeah, I'm still learning lessons today, to be honest. And like, rest in peace. Like I was so shocked when he passed away, and
We all do.
especially like, yeah, speaking to him so soon after. Like I had just spoken to him like weeks just before was the last time I spoken to him. So I would say that even until today, even here in the studio when I'm talking to engineers, I'm like, this guy taught me this and this guy taught me this. So, he basically still lives on in these things, that we're doing with the band. So, but that's the journey of how it happened. Yeah.
Let me go to the point now after the or post the hiatus of Coat of Arms, and I would like to ask Liam, making these new singles that you kept releasing over and over after you came back and you got back together, how did you see the reactions of the fans and the people listen to your music after the this hiatus?
It was obviously a very, very good feeling, very humbling feeling. That people are we did not expect it in terms of the instancy of the entire thing, where it really felt like people were kind of edging and waiting for something to come out. So obviously it was very humbling and very, very nice. We with all of our music, we release music for ourselves. The one word that we always use when it comes to our music is that it's cathartic, which means it's a good release. It's a good like healing process, if you like, for whatever we're going through in our personal lives, or things that need to get out of here for better. So we always do it for ourselves. That's first and foremost. And the fact that we can touch one person, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever it may be, is always a bonus for us. And we got crazy messages at the beginning, considering that we haven't released music in 5 years. We were getting messages from people in like Mexico, like going, "Man, what the hell? Where have you guys been all this time? Thank God you're back. This is amazing." You're like, Mexico? Who's like? You wouldn't think that our little, Zoom sessions of writing music would lead to somebody in Mexico listening to our stuff. It's insane. So it's one of the best feelings in the world. And it's a very humbling and grounding feeling as well.
And I would like to hear also from Shannon. What was your reaction, or how did you feel after the release, after the hiatus of the band?
I mean, it felt like I said, we were always like writing in the background, sometimes more than others. But like once it all came together. We were just excited to get the music out there. We were just really excited to get the music out there. I remember the first day, I think it was the first day, song got released. We did 1,000 streams, and I was like, holy shit, 1,000? 1,000 times the song was listened to? Like, what the fuck? And I went into work the next day, and I was like all like there was a pep in my step, like I had just got laid the night before or something. And
What a way to describe this.
I mean, that's my face was glowing, like I had just taken a full to the face, But I walked into work and I was speaking to someone, and I told them I was like, oh yeah, like it was someone who listened to metal, and they were much older, and I was like, oh yeah, we released a song to 1,000 streams, like I'm so excited. And he said, okay, well, like what's the plan? What's the goal? And I said, at the time, Bailouni was like, bro, we're gonna do 100,000. We're gonna do 100,000. So I was like, I said to this guy, I was like, the plan is to do 100,000, but in my heart, I felt so stupid to even I felt like I must sound like an idiot, I must sound like some kid having a pipe dream of like, yeah, we're gonna do 100,000. Like it seemed so unattainable. Like I felt like I was just dreaming or wishing that that would happen. And then 1,000 becomes 2,000, and the next day becomes 3,000, and then it's 4,000 for a couple of days, and you see just like but the numbers just start to go up, and when we hit 100,000, I was like, shit, like we manifested that, like we made that happen in the world. So it was it gives you a high. I mean, it's honestly like it's sick. It's cool. Like it's validation that this is what we're supposed to be doing. We are supposed to be putting music together, like writing music, the four of us, and putting it out into the world. And I always say this to Bailouni, you have to put stuff out in the universe in order for the universe to give you back something. If we're only writing demos and keeping them on our hard drives, we can't have that interaction with the world. So I'm glad we put it out there, and I'm even more glad to see that the universe is responding back to it positively.
We are just shy of 2 million streams. Just
Yeah.
as a note,
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
And that's only Spotify. We don't
Yeah,
actually
that's
talk
only
about other
Spotify.
platforms. Yeah, like so with Tidal, Deezer, Anghami, and Apple Music and whatnot. But I'll add one more thing, because just to add on this, one of the most shocking moments that made me realize that this time was definitely different. Most of it happened around Old Habits, to be honest with you. I don't know what happened with that song, and we still always talk about the song within the band. But me and Liam were going through some of the DMs and some of the videos, and just what people say. Do you get what I mean? Like, you can share something to story, but it's very different when someone says something to you or does something for the song, because sharing it is, it's a different thing. One comes from a different place, and there we got more, and I'll say more than a handful within the first couple of days. Messages from fans that were saying, I was very close to killing myself, and I stopped, and I changed my mind when I heard Old Habits. And I'm not saying one, I'm saying multiple people. And we had people doing acoustic covers, and we had people going live talking to their friends saying, like, I just heard this song and I need to explain what this means to me. So when you have that type of reaction from people about a song, I mean, if that happens again, then it's like, a miracle twice over. But when you have that type of reaction from people about songs, it becomes much bigger than like music or art. Or
I mean, it's really heavy to think about, but imagine if that song just stayed on our hard drive.
100%.
Right?
Imagine if we had never released that song. Imagine if we had been like, with the hiatus continued. It makes you think, like, imagine if the hiatus was 5 years and 6 months, and then that person, you never know, makes a very, horrible decision in their life. You know what I mean? So you never know what these songs do for other people. And I think, that was the second song we released coming back. So you learn that lesson very quickly into releasing. And then I think, especially, when we talk about it inside the band, you respect your releases a lot more, that they're much bigger than you. They're much more important than us. They don't, like, and obviously we enjoy making it. We enjoy expressing ourselves, but the same way some songs may have changed my life, you don't really realize it till you read it or see it, how much it affects other people's lives. And I think this is the first time we felt that so frequently with different songs in different ways. You know what I mean? So I think that's really our target. Like we if we get that anytime, that's what really is like the gold for us, you know?
I'm speechless. I truly don't know what to say, guys. I mean, I mean, you could say that Old Habits was like the tipping point for Coat of Arms to get back into the track again, and it motivated you to move and make more music and to do a lot of stuff more. No, I won't say for the people. I mean, it's for yourselves because you love and you admire doing this. You know what I mean? You're doing this because you love this, and the reactions of the people that listening to your music comes with this. I mean, it's truly heartwarming. It's overwhelmed by this music.
Yeah, and I think
even if you
go for it.
Sorry, man. You.
No, go for it.
No, I was just gonna add, like, you know, on the back end of Old Habits, we wrote Example. And Example was a song that the theme, the context of being third culture kids, that we are all born in a country that we view as home, but will never be our home. So like we feel like we don't belong, right? And the country that you're supposed to come from is not home and will never be home. So it's like you're stuck in limbo as a third culture kid, and we've all dealt with that our entire lives. And it was a theme that we've been wanting to talk about for a while. And as soon as we put out Example was just written for us. It wasn't written for anybody else. It was just written for us. Like, this is who we are. We are examples of third culture kids. And the amount of feedback and messages we were getting from people in the region, going like, "Yo, this is exactly how I feel about my life. This is exactly how I felt about, like, not belonging to where I want to belong and not belonging where I should belong. Like, I don't know where who I am, what I belong to, where I should be, so on and so forth." And people were like, in around 3 minutes, you've described in detail the exact way I feel. And you're like, dude, I got you. Like, that's it. We're all part of the same community, you know? We're all here to express. And if we touched one person, or again, 1,000, it's all good. All the same effect. And it's the same respect.
I hope to touch them all.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Oh god, that
But
came
it's
out
like,
of nowhere.
to go back to the serious point that Bailouni was making, that whether we get to affect, I'm not going to say touch anymore, whether we're going to affect one person's life or 1 million people's lives, that still deserves the same respect. 1 versus 1 million, it's the same respect.
And I totally agree with you. By the way, the Example is the first song I heard by you guys, and and you know, Liam, you're actually true. I love this song because I felt it. Because when I listened to it, this describes a lot of things about me. That's why I fell in love with Coat of Arms. I told myself I need to listen to more.
Yeah.
And I went through that rabbit hole in your songs.
Yeah.
Let me ask you though, what's your top 3 favorite songs?
That's difficult.
Okay, obviously you're gonna pick Example because you just talked about it now. But
I would say Old Habits, Shapes, and Paper Mache.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yes,
Paper Mache
Paper Mache.
Club, yes.
yeah.
Habibi.
Paper Mache Club.
Hell yeah.
It's quite unique. It's called
Old habit.
Because I was picking Pepper Mache or Play Along, and I would say, you know what, Pepper Mache was overplayed over Play Along. That's for me.
Actually, I think Paper Mache doesn't get enough. Paper Mache and Play
No,
Along
no,
don't
no,
get
no.
enough
I
credit.
freaking loved it. I loved it.
It's
You-
a band favorite, but doesn't deserve it. It doesn't get enough credit. That song.
No,
It's
no.
a
No,
great
it doesn't.
song.
Unfortunately, it didn't get enough credit. No.
But it was quite amazing. I freaking loved it. Um, I wanted to ask a couple last few questions before we go into the last one. So guys, what would you see after the comeback of Coat of Arms? What would you tell me about the future for the band? Where do you see yourselves?
Take it away, Shannon.
Well, okay. I'll speak on behalf of Bailouni and myself, since he had to step out of the room. Onwards and upwards. I think we always say onwards and upwards. Where I think it's very clear now that like the train has left the station. We can't stop the coat of arms train. No single one of us could. It's starting to like become now like snowball out of our control. So I think we're looking forward to just doing what we've done, just bigger and better and more. We already know which songs we're releasing this year. We already are working on them. They're being finished. So that is what this year holds. As things start
For now.
As things start to open up, we're gonna hope to put in some live shows in there as well, and probably attempt a band first for a music video, because that in our history, being that we have lived in different parts of the world for the entire course of our existence, has been difficult for us to do, but we're going to tackle that as well this year. So yeah, just bigger and better and more. Quite like myself, every night, it's coming. So.
And Amir?
Yeah, I think I have nothing to add to other than what Shannon said. Like, I don't know. I don't see this stopping anytime soon, to be honest, because we're how to say, we're always planning ahead, you know. So, and our plan changes every now and then. But like Shannon said, we're working on a lot of stuff, and we already know what we're planning to do for this year. In a couple of months, that might change slightly or not. But like, I don't know, sometimes we'll have songs ready for release, and then we write a new demo, and then we go like, no, we'll work on this one, and that goes on. You never know. But what's certain, like the thing I can assure you is we're not gonna stop putting out music. And our plan is to try and put up as much music as possible, and as much as we can, you know, and good music, like, because music that we believe in, music that we stand behind, you know. And for me, the way I see it, and I said it to Bailouni before, like when I was pushing like to release more stuff and whatever, before we made our comeback, I was like, this music or whatever we release, whether it's streamed by one person or by 1 million or 10 million people, it's your like personal print that you leave in this world, you know. So any of us later on being parents or even grandparents, and like it would be cool to just show your grandkids or your kids, like, look what I've done when I was your age, or like to inspire them, or even not our own kids, like even, you know, some other people that like see us or listen to us and go like, okay, I want to pick up a guitar, or they were hesitant about releasing music and go like, okay, if these guys like came a long way, and like I'd like to try, you know. And we did come a long way. Like the Bailouni formed this band, I think back 2008, and I mean since then it's been Yeah, it's been quite a journey for everybody from the beginning
And
until now.
yeah, you know something as well. Just to add to that, you know, I think all of us in this region, like we grow up with metal in general being a very Habib.
Hayat.
We grow up with
Fadaitek.
قلبي والله.
Wow.
وحشني والله.
I'm glad it's all recorded.
We you know, like when we're like in the region that we live in, like metal music is not obviously the most welcomed genre in the world, and us, like Liam's saying, being third culture kids and being in this part of the world where you know we don't have gigs every single week, right? A big part of why I love doing what we do is that we also remind other people around us that if you are a third culture kid, if you are just learning how to play guitar and you think I have to be in Hollywood to make it, or I have to be in America or Europe or Sweden or whatever, no, you don't. Like, we're proof in a very small way, very small micro way, that you can connect with people all around the world just through being just through making music that comes from your heart. If you do that, people will always going to react in a certain way. You don't have to be in another country to do it. You know, art doesn't have a passport. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no. So for me, just to add to what also Amir was saying about, you know, what we've done and where we're going and whatnot. If we can keep all of those things and it just obviously, like, you know, get better, then I think we're all going to be happy with it. I don't think we put any more expectation than that, you know?
Yeah, I think also we, to jump on something that Bailouni said, is we also want to show the rest of the world what this part of the world is capable of, you know? There's a lot of talent here. Maybe they just don't get the opportunity to shout as much of it, but there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of potential. And even like Diego said, oh, I didn't know bands in Dubai made music like this. It's like, well, we're not the only ones, man. Like, there are a lot. So we want to show that this part of the world can bring it just as hard as any other part of the world. Yeah. And we got the opportunity to do a bit of that last year. This year, we want to do a fuck ton more of that. Mic drop. I'm done. Out.
And Liam, do you have any additional words for this one, for the future of Core of Arms?
We're just like Shannon said. We're going up and onwards, and we're picking up. It's not going to stop anytime soon. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of interesting stuff coming your way. Keep an eye on the social media. Keep checking the Spotify. There's something's gonna land very soon, very soon.
And I'm looking forward for this. Okay,
Yeah.
I have the last two questions. One, it's a small question, but it's only for Bailouni. Bailouni, do you gent?
Yes, sir.
You gent? Okay, so
Bro, that guy would gent on a ukulele even if he wants, like if he wanted to. I swear to you.
Like
or
the
a
running,
banjo.
this is like the running joke on Unmuted. Every single time I'm on there, everyone goes, "But do you gent?" And I'm like, "Bruh."
he would gent on the flute.
I gent so long it's become jaunt. You know what I mean? Like, I've been jaunting. You know, like.
You're such a gentleman.
Well played,
All right,
sir.
guys. This is the last question.
And you are a gentist.
I see what I did there. All right, guys.
Mic drop.
So I would like to ask you the last questions, and I would like to hear an answer from each and every one of you. And I was supposed to do that from like it will be the last question on every episode of the podcast. Ever since I started, I learned a lot from people I met through this journey so far. I learned a lot. I met people. I met their experiences, and I think this is a thing I would like to learn. It's not just doing a podcast just to sit and chit chat. No, I want to listen to the people. I want to listen to their journey. I want to listen to the experiences they've been through, all the things they've done, all the ups and downs they went through. So, guys, I wanted to ask you, what experience you guys you could tell me you gained through all these years before the band, before Coat of Arms, currently in Coat of Arms, and to the future. What kind of experience you would say that you gained all through all these years, starting with Bailouni?
What experience did I get over the years of Coat of Arms?
Overall through this career.
In music, you mean?
That's a hard question.
I know.
Go for it.
No. You just came up with something. You go.
Go. Say it.
Well, I gained 3 really fucking good friends.
See?
That's what I
I should have said that one. I feel bad now.
I'm disappointed. Shannon. I thought we were brothers.
Allah.
Back at you.
I mean,
No, seriously.
two brothers and 1 sister. That's Amir.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to serious. Back to serious.
We'll see how you change your mind tomorrow when I see you.
You invited a hailstorm, bro. Like, I would
Just put out a
say
few flapjacks, you'll be fine.
caramel waffles. I think I would say I would say that not to worry too much about what you think is going to happen to your music, I suppose, and just enjoy the process and then enjoy being yourself when you're creating and putting out music and art, because most of the time if you're not enjoying it, or you feel like you're being forced, or you feel like your heart's not really in it, most of the time it's going to show. So I think the biggest lesson that I've learned in music is that the more of yourself you are, the further and like the better people receive it. You know what I mean? The more people you can share those things in common with. So wear your heart on your sleeve when you're making your music. Be yourself.
Be yourself and not to worry too much. Amir?
Well, I agree with what both of them said. The gaining 2 brothers and a sister.
I'm not gonna ask about the sister one, okay?
No. So obviously, I mean, like, other than pointing out the obvious that these guys are my brothers, and what Bailouni just said, I want to add to what Bailouni just said is, I think what I learned is to put the same effort behind, or the same energy behind every release, because some songs sometimes will surprise you. Like, you might think this material or this song or that song is your best one, and you might think another song you're releasing is like, okay, it has potential, but maybe it's not my best, and then that might surprise you and ends up being your, like, your best one. And in the band, we have an indicator. The song I hate the most usually ends up being the best.
Wow.
Before anyone calls me out, so I'm calling out myself.
I was waiting.
Yep.
I'm like, I call out myself before you guys serve it to me.
You pulled an 8 Mile.
Yeah. Eminem.
Wow. So, and Liam?
Again, it's the 2 mottos that I'm known for living by, which is which ties back to what everybody was saying. The first is blood means nothing, and I have that printed on my band T-shirt, on the one we wear live on stage. And it's very true. Like I have found, 4 brothers that have no blood relation to me, but I will always consider them my brothers for life. And we've been in each other's shit, ups and downs and in betweens, and I can count on those 3 guys to always have my back no matter what, and I think that's a very rare thing to find. Aside from us being able to create arts and music together, that's the one thing I value the most. The second is, no matter what art you do, and I believe it's a Picasso quote, is art is never finished, it's always abandoned.
Art
And
is never always abandoned. Yes.
always abandoned. You can never finish it. And it's the same with our music. We instead of leaving it on a hard drive and trying to perfect it and perfect it and perfect it and perfect it and keeping it going, at some stage you just need to let it go. You just need to put it out into the world and see what happens. Otherwise, it's never, you're never going to see, you're never going to get the effect of change to yourself and to maybe somebody else with your art, be it a painting, be it a piece of music, be it poetry, be it chalk on the sidewalk, whatever it is, do it. At some point you just need to let it go. And I highly encourage people, even if you think whatever you're doing is shit, that's your thought behind it. You never know what you could make somebody else feel or think by putting it out into the world. So just do it. It's not gonna hurt you. Just do it. Let it go.
That's actually true. Shannon, do you have any other than 2 brothers and 1 sister, and in your life?
There's honestly, there's so much to say in terms of what I've picked up from the band. The first one, which I said is and which Liam touched on, is you really have to put things out in the universe in order for the universe to respond back to you. That's the way that I joined the band. Is that I heard Pixels from Sun and Satellites. I did a drum jam, a drum cover to it, and I sent it to the guys because I saw they didn't have a drummer. And then a year later, they invited me to come and work on stuff. And if I had never made that video, I would not be sitting here today, So I put something out into the universe, and they responded, and now I'm part of the band. And the same thing with the music, and as well, when I did join the band, it was a really tough year for me, and being in the band really helped me. It made me, it validated me. It made me feel important again. It made me feel like I had a value to give back to the world and to these guys. So I'm always eternally grateful for that, for them, for giving me that opportunity. And then lastly, I'll just touch on this, in terms of being a musician. I mean, before this, I was a bedroom drummer. I had never been in any serious bands. And working with these guys made me the best musician I possibly could be today. They really leveled up, how much I had to practice, all the different things that I needed to learn to be part of a serious band. So I also became a much better musician by joining this band. So both musically and personally, the band has just been nothing but growth for me. So that's my answer. And 2 brothers and 3 brothers.
I'll be the sister.
Yeah,
I'll be the sister.
Yeah, he did the sex change. He has a dick now.
Well, it's either me or you with the long hair. That's it.
Oh, guys. So, would you like to say some last words before we wrap the episode?
New music after Ramadan.
Oh, he said it. It's official. He said it.
And I'm hooked. I'll be counting the days.
I don't think we can say anything else that explains any other better
Any
last words, to be
any
honest.
last words before we wrap in, like new music or other things, or would you like to say other words or something? Or
I'll say one thing. Thank you for doing what you do. What you do is important for this region, and thank you for having us here. It's a similar way that I discovered Coat of Arms and was able to join them was through Facebook, through someone making a post. So what you're doing is really, really, really important for the scene, and we think over the next 10 years. Dubai is really going to show the world what it's capable of musically, not just in metal. And it's people like you that are going to be the pioneers that lead the way for that revolution to happen. So,
dude, thank you, man. Hey, listen. Here's the thing. Whenever someone says something like this, I'm just saying, guys, I'm just a fan. I like this music. I'm sharing. That's it. That's all I do. There's nothing more I would say.
I'll tell you. I'll give you something that someone once told me a long time ago, which I think from what everything Shannon is saying is 100% true, and I think this is something you should keep in mind about Steel Shout. First of all, never quit. Never stop doing what you're doing, because you probably don't realize how much of a difference you're making long term. But I'll leave you with a quote that I heard, which is, history is not remembered by the people who did the most, but by the people that documented it the best. Right? So you're making history by documenting these things with bands and whatever, and you're actually creating not just content, but you're creating documentation of people's stories, people's lives, people's experiences, our lives, your life, other bands' lives. And that's exactly what making history is by definition. So, my friend, you're making history, and I think we're all very grateful for everything that you do, like Shannon said.
Thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Much appreciated, guys, and it's recorded. My stupid facial reaction was recorded on this. I always oblige. Guys, I mean, it means the world to me. You deserve it, and this is a thing I cannot not to do. Honestly. This is the thing if there was one day passed and I did not do, even if just sharing a meme, I just do a meme on Steel Shout and just post it there, this is the thing I enjoy doing, and that's it. And I truly appreciate every single word you just said. You just told me, guys, and I'm truly humbled by that. I'm overwhelmed by your words. Guys, thank you, each and every one of you. I appreciate your time being here on the episode. You have all the support. If I did not just, I discovered, I think Amir shared your song examples, and if that song did not showed up and I just clicked on that link just to listen to the song, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't able to discover you through that, just pressing that link and listening to your music over and over. It's amazing how just a click away or a song that would take you or leads to other stuff, just to meet the band and sit with them and talk with them. You guys are amazing. You are doing a fantastic job in here. You create an amazing music, and I'm telling you this, never stop. You have all the love, you have all the support. And by the way, every time you drop a song and I keep sharing it, and I got reactions over your songs, that is absolutely amazing. I talk even in one of your episodes, I talked with one of my friends in here. He was talking about your music. I just recall, I told him, his name is Aziz. I told him, but I don't recall that I sent you that song. He said, yeah, but you shared it on Steel Shout. So my word is, keep it going, guys. All the love and all the support to each and every one of you. Steve Shout would be happy to share your music over and over, and maybe we could have another episode together. We could talk more, and I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate your time. I know that I sitting here for 2 hours, and for everyone who is listening to the episode and watching the video, I appreciate every single one of them, because they took their time to know about the band, talk to them, talking to them, and taking the time to know about this journey that they went through. If you guys, to all who are listening to the episode, love this episode, please check Coat of Arms, check their music. All the links would be dropped below in the description of the episode. It will be all down below. Check them on Instagram, check them on Spotify, and be prepared for the new song coming by Coat of Arms. I'm looking for that. Again, Bailouni, Shannon, Liam, and Amir, guys, again, thank you for being here on Steve Shout episode, and I wish you all the best. And to all the people who are listening, if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and tell us what are your favorite songs by Coat of Arms. And we'll see you guys later on the next episode later on. So
Habibi, thank you so much.
Very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having us, Habibi.
Thank you very much, and see you at the next show, front row, sah?
Yes.
Yeah, you better be.
definitely. Oh, hold up. Shannon, say the word. Say the word.
I'm as hard as steel, and I'm gonna make you shout.
Yes. Thank you, guys, and
Thank you.
see ya.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.
Take care.
Peace out.
Take care. Bye
Take
bye.
care.